Hello there, today we're going to be taking a look at this, which looks like just a little yellow box, but it is an FrSky R9 module. In fact, it's an R9 Lite module for my X-lite. There we go, with a little receiver and an antenna. So what is this? So this is the FrSky's entry into the long-range FPV piloting area. So this fits directly onto the back of your FrSky X-lite. I don't think it fits onto anything else. They do another version of this that fits onto the back of via a JST module, onto the back of a Taranis or those types of things. But this is FrSky's entry for going onto the back of your X-lite, so that's why I bought it. Really interested in that. And this is the little module that goes with it. So there we go. So the tiny little module that you can then put on there. So this has got its antennas that you would then install onto your mini quad. So this is designed to allow you to fly long range and allow you to do a lot more things. It's got a lot lower latency. It's in a different frequency. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it is, but I will put the information on screen somewhere about here. And the idea is that it allows you to fly much further with lower risk of dropping out of the signal. So you can do those nice sort of cinematic shots of flying through valleys and various bits and pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install this on my 6-inch quad, which kind of sits on the screen here. So I'm going to be taking out the XM Plus that I've got in the back of here and installing this little receiver here, and we'll see if we can get some long range out of this bad boy. Right, so let me get it installed and then we'll talk about how that worked. Okay, so I've swapped out the receiver, so it was a fairly straightforward swap. So basically I swapped out the XM Plus for the R9 Mini, so that's now installed in here. I have also added a smart port cable because I just didn't fancy trying to get F-port to work. So I have bound this up to the radio. I've had a few problems getting smart port to work quite as I want, but I have managed to get RSSI working, so I can get signal checking on there. I've also changed out the antenna because the R9 Mini comes with a single antenna which has a positive and negative side, and I've then set this up in this configuration because otherwise these were touching the arms and didn't want that. So that was pretty straightforward, that was pretty easy. Obviously then I needed to bind it up, so fairly straightforward, just slot this onto the back of here, like so. Put the antenna on, and you create a profile, and then you set up the profile in here using the R9 setup. So you have an option of I think it's 25 milliwatts with telemetry and 100 milliwatts without telemetry. So if you want to do range, you want to be on the 100 milliwatt version. That's what I'm going to be testing on. So I've got my RSSI coming here, so I don't need the smart port part. So hopefully all will go well. So let's go take this out into the field and we'll do a bit of testing. Okay, so welcome to a sunny Sunday morning in Great Britain. It might be sunny, but I don't think it was particularly warm. So this is about to be my third or fourth flight. So I have been pushing the range a little bit further each time, and on this day I was taking it out and just starting to see what it's going to do. Now at this point none of this would be a problem for the XM Plus, but what it would normally get angry with is when you're trying to fly behind things like this tree. Really happy that shot is really pretty. But I'm flying around and just checking what it's able to do, and I'm just bringing it back. At this point I suddenly realised that I haven't quite adjusted my settings as I wanted to, and it wasn't quite right, so I thought I'd just bring it in for a quick landing and do the usual lead flight OST changes. Unfortunately I then managed to get water on my lens because I'm an idiot. Okay, so now with some water sprayed all over the lens, lovely dewy morning, I'm deciding to go and fly my drone behind me. So this should be not great for video and also not great for the receiver because I'm not facing the right direction. But I'm out over a field behind myself effectively, and I'm having no problems at all, not any issues whatsoever. So in general, I know I'm not going particularly long range at this point, but I'm trying to put objects between me and where I'm going. So all in all, that seems to be working reasonably well. Okay, so we've now been flying this around for a little while. In fact, I've flied this around for a week or two just to make sure everything works. And to start with, it was just basic hovering and flying around. And then I moved on to doing some range tests. Now, I built this up over a period of time. And what I wanted to do is build a level of trust in this. So I could trust that if I flew this out at range, that I would get either some kind of feeling, some sort of warning that it's going to fall out of the sky, or I was going to just sort of discover the fact that it's got a really good range to it. Now, when I started testing this in sort of more interesting scenarios, I had this happen. Now, I will freely admit right now, I probably shouldn't have been flying over water when testing this, but I will say that I was flying in a way that I'd flown down that piece before. I had been flying in the same sort of situation a couple of times, so I was building confidence that this could handle that situation. And actually, I was less than a kilometre away, and it really wasn't that bad in terms of being a long distance away. And actually, when you look at the picture back, I was actually not too far out of a line of sight for the receiver. But it's just one of those things where it's a bit frustrating because you're trying to build trust in this, and if you can't trust it, you can't fly it at a long distance. And I think that's where my problem is. There was no warning. If you listen back to the audio, there's no beeps. It just suddenly cuts out. I had set Beta Flight set up to give me an RSSI warning. I didn't get any warning through my transmitter. There was nothing. It just didn't give me any signal. And actually, my video was fine. And actually the transmitter gave up first, which is odd because normally I find that the transmitter normally works much better than the video transmitter. Sorry, the receiver works much better than the video transmitter. So where does that leave me with this? Now, I know that you can update your antennas, so you can put a different antenna on here. You can put a different antenna on there, you can put a different antenna on the drone. In fact, I've ordered a couple of them before I did this video that I was going to use. So you can do various different bits and pieces. I know they've done a lot of work on the firmware to this. You can update the firmware and improve it. But what it gives me is a scenario where I have to decide, can I trust it? And I'm going to give you my reasoning behind this. I've placed a £30 receiver and transmitter and receiver in this drone. This drone plus a camera probably clocks in at nearly £400. So I'm trusting £400 plus my time and effort on a £30 item. That doesn't quite sound right to me. I've got FrSky gear in everything else I have, and it is really, really good, and I've had no problems with it. I've never had a failsafe other than with this, and admittedly I was pushing it beyond what I would normally do. But for me, I can't trust it now. I don't think it's evolved enough. I don't think it's the right place. And while I can continue to persevere with this, I don't think it's going to be sorted in any time soon, or it's sorted in a way that I need it to work. And there'll be software updates that will mean that there'll be times where it works and times where it doesn't. So for me, this doesn't work. The R9 setup. So how have I gone about fixing that? Well, pretty straightforward. I bought one of these. So I have bought. I've moved over to TBS Crossfire, so I'm just in the process of getting everything set up on there. Now I know it also has its problems, but predominantly I know lots of people who fly with this, and I know that it's very stable and it works very, very well. There are still fail-safes, but I have heard generally very good things about it. So what I need to do now is get this and this to work together, but that's another video. Now, if you want to know more and want to persevere with your R9 and you are committed to it and you want to carry on, Curry Kitten is doing a lot of videos around the R9, talking about how you can improve it, talking about what the issues are with the RSSI from the receiver and the telemetry being different, and I know he's doing a lot of work on that, so please go and check out his videos on that. But for me, I can't trust it, so I am moving over to this. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm sure FrSky haven't. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you all next time.